Just in case you don't know, by the way, I did a quick Google search of that earlier on today as well. And sakpa, by the way, is a term used in Nigerian pidgin English to describe a state of being extremely broke or poor, usually after spending extravagantly. All right, and another term, a synonym for that is owu. Exactly. So, are these mobile lending apps, are they helping to reduce sakpa, which is, I think, is a wave that's, infecting a lot of Nigerians these days, being the poverty capital of the world and all that. So, we'll look at this. I'll also be speaking with Michael Ogba. He's a banker economist, CEO, Citiamo Technology Limited. He'll join me for this conversation in the 5 o'clock hour after the updates. We've got headlines at 5:30 p.m. and the major news is up at 6 p.m. A review of all of these matters during the open season segment afterwards till about 7 o'clock. That's it, a preview of today's show. Let's get on with things now with today's side comments, random stories, and random source that caught my attention as I checked out the news earlier on today. Let's start with this one. Police have denied reports that one live Sunday died in one of its detention cells. Recall that his family accused the Octopus Strike Force unit of the command of torturing him to death while he was in their custody. But spokesperson of the command, Grace Iringekoko, told our correspondent that late Sunday confessed to being a member of a kidnapping gang. She said he died in a hospital after sustaining gunshot wounds during a gun battle between his gang members and the police at their hideout in the forest. Okay, it's good that the police is responding to this. It's a good thing. And please note that I started by saying it's a good thing that the police have responded to this. But I believe that more information is required, So he died in a detention cell. Or rather, he did not die, the police have said, in spite of the family's accusation that he did. Police spokesperson said he confessed to being a member of a kidnapping gang. How did he confess to being a member of a kidnapping gang? What were the circumstances in which he made this confession? Because once again, the police spokesperson said he died in the hospital after sustaining gunshot wounds. So at what point exactly did he make this confession? Was it during the gun battle? Was it after the gun battle, after he had sustained gunshot wounds? Was it during the drive from the scene of the gun battle to the hospital? Was it after he arrived at the hospital and maybe he was treated? At what point exactly did he make this confession? What were the circumstances surrounding this confession? And in what form or format did he make this confession? Was it a written confession? Was it an oral confession? If it was oral, is there a video recording or any kind of recording of this evidence that this fellow was said to have made before he died, supposedly? I'm guessing he didn't make the confession after he died. I have a hunch that didn't happen. I have a strong hunch he didn't make the confession after dying. So, once again, what were the circumstances surrounding this confession he purportedly made? Also, which hospital did he die in? So maybe we can ask the hospital staff or doctors or other medical personnel who attended to him, so we can corroborate the position of the police. And this forest where his gang were and the gun battle supposedly took place, which forest exactly was it? So we need a lot more information, and the police has a responsibility to provide that information. Not that we don't believe the police. Please, I don't want you to think that anything I say right now suggests that the police cannot be trusted. After all, the police is your friend. But it's just that in the spirit of openness, which the police is all about. The police is all about openness and transparency and providing information. So that's why. That's why we need this, this information also, because that's what the police does. The police just provides information. You understand? So that's the reason. Not that I'm doubting the police or their position in any way. Nothing like that. Be it far from me to question the police. Because someone sent me a message here via WhatsApp already saying, "Dayo, are you questioning the works and operations of officers? How dare I do that? I cannot even imagine doing that. Just helping the police out there, that's all." Oh, a couple other items I believe caught my attention earlier as well. Do I have time for that now? Do I have to go for commercial break? I've got a commercial break coming up shortly. Let's see if I can throw one in as well before the break. And in the meantime, Governor Yesem Wike has said he will make his preferred presidential candidate known in January 2023. The governor spoke during the commissioning of the Rumokrushi flyover yesterday. Do I have time to hear His Excellency's comment on this? Let's see. Do I? Okay, maybe quickly. Just,
Not only will I tell them where they will vote, I will move from state to state and why they should vote for people I think they should vote for. Nothing will happen. So all of you appearing on television, abusing me, don't waste your saliva again. January is a come. All those of you who are telling Nigerians you used to have 40 shoes, you have to have 50 wristwatches. Time has come to convert those shoes and wristwatches to vote.
Yes, okay, you know what? I have to go for a quick break now. I'll return. Side comments continue. Please stay with us. Hey! Welcome back to Hot Factor Nigeria Info, Harry Port Harcourt. I'm Dial. Merry Christmas once again. 29 gone past 3, and my side comments continue. But before I continue from where I left off, the River State Governor's comment on who he will vote for next year, or he will support for the presidential election. Let's go back quickly to the earlier matter of the River State Police Command denying that someone died in a police detention facility. I think added to the statement was from the spokesperson, said the kidnapped victim was rescued and an AK-47 gun retrieved while other members of the kidnapped gang escaped. And that's a good thing as well. That a kidnapped victim was rescued. It's a good thing a firearm was also retrieved. Those are very wonderful things. But it's also important that those questions I raised earlier on, answers are provided to them as well. Now, moving on to His Excellency's position as far as who he will vote for next year. Well, just like every other Nigerian of voting age, His Excellency the Governor has a right to determine how he wants to vote, who he wants to vote for. But the Governor has, like every other Nigerian, and that's what the wonderful thing about democracy. At some point, it's a leveler. His Excellency has only one vote. Excellencies don't have more than one, actually. Every excellency has an honorable. They have just one vote as well, just like every other person. Just like the woman selling tomatoes at Rumokoro Market, or that keke driver that's blocking off traffic right now because he wants to pick along. Sadly, but he also has only one vote as well, and everyone has a right to exercise that franchise however way they want, irrespective of how any excellency feels about it. Just thought to point that out to everyone. The Nigerian Police Force says adequate measures have been put in place on all federal highways to guarantee the safety of all travelers during this Yuletide season. IG Police Usman Akali Baba disclosed this in a statement issued by the Force Public Relations Officer Olumiyiwa Adejobi. The IGP ordered the mass deployment of police operatives to highways, rail lines, waterways, airports, and at the various recreational centers to ensure the safety of all Nigerians. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. And please note once again that I started by saying that's a good thing. All right? Good. All right, that said, so we have men, our friends, deployed to highways, waterways, rail lines, deployed en masse to help provide improved security and safety of lives and property during this Yuletide season. Do we have another unit that we are going to send out to these highways and rail lines and waterways to watch these officers that we are sending there? I hope the IGP knows how some of his boys behave. And I think that before they send out these boys, to the highways, the waterways, and the rail lines, maybe they should organize a crash course for them, like a refresher course, to remind them of their duties as police officers, to remind them what their mandate is, to remind them what their responsibilities are. Because I have a feeling that some of them forget. It's not their fault. There's so much that they are dealing with that you could forget. They can forget some of these things. It happens. So they need refresher course, to remind them of what documents they can ask drivers for, and what documents they can ask them for. For example, the police is no longer issuing tinted glass permits, the last time I heard. So a police officer should not be asking anyone for a tinted glass permit now, if you know what I mean. And I think that drivers are not required to go about with the receipts of their vehicles, with the receipts, for the payment they made. So things like that, they should remind them. They should remind them. And those of them, no offense to anyone. And those of them that can't read properly, they should ensure that in every unit, there's at least one officer that can read properly, so that there won't be confusion when we are reading car papers. You understand? So that there won't be any confusion. And also, it's important to have at least one officer with every unit that can speak and that comprehends proper English, so that there won't be any confusion as well. And that's not coming from me, by the way. It was the former head of the police complaint response unit who at one time said it's better to interact with police officers using pidgin English, so that there won't be any problem. And for some Nigerians who may not be versed in the pidgin English language or other vernacular, and may want to converse with officers using proper English, so that there won't be any problem, so that the officer will not think that the civilian is abusing him because he or she is speaking in proper English. So let's ensure that every unit has an officer who can comprehend and communicate using proper English, so that there won't be any confusion and misrepresentation as well. And I think that if we put some of these things in place, everything should go well. All right, I think that's going to be for side comments. But before then, let's see. Let's see. Someone says, so they did not recover 3 mobile phones, 300 rounds of ammunition and charms. No, not this time around. But we recovered 1 AK-47 rifle. I think that should be enough. And reportedly, a kidnapped victim was rescued also. I mean, I think that surpasses 300 rounds of live ammunition and any charms that they could have recovered otherwise. Dial, those are pertinent questions begging to be answered. I await a reliable men of the police force to answer them. That's some catchy. All right, that's it for side comments. I'll go for a quick break. When I return, today's round comes on. Please stay with us.
Are you running late and can't make it down to our Rumorsi office to book your commercials? Don't worry, because you can take advantage of our marketing office inside Port Harcourt to book your commercials. It is located at Shop 9 Mediatrix of All Graces Plaza, opposite FIRS Stadium Road, Port Harcourt. You can also call our sales rep on 0817 001 8162. That's 0817 001 8162.
Nigeria Info,
the hub for information,
current affairs, and more.
The president used his last Democracy Day address to talk about several issues, including security.
It is this same government that they started it. They don't obey conduct.
Join the conversation
right here.
Let's talk.
And now, Hard Facts.
Hard Facts with Diode.
Hello, welcome back to Hard Facts to Nigeria Info here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dyer, and I'd like to rant for just a bit. I've got something in my mind, and you're very welcome to express your thoughts on mine after I'm done expressing mine, of course, all the way till 4 p.m. I'd like to go over this very quickly. The intelligence community, and by that I'm referring to, I'm speaking security-wise. The intelligence community is supposed to be, at the most basic level, an intelligent one, a very intelligent one. And I believe that's one of the reasons they refer to it as intelligence, even though intelligence in this context, I perceive, implies more than just a person's mental capacity. It also refers to information, or the process of gathering said information and the process of analyzing the information to draw inferences or conclusions or derive even more information with a view to improving or ensuring security, I imagine. But one thing I'm certain that's required of the intelligence community or members of the intelligence community is intelligence. I mean, I would hate to think that members of the intelligence community or intelligence agencies in Nigeria make it a habit of recruiting daft people. I feel certain that is not the case. I feel certain that's not the case. As a matter of fact, I imagine that members of the intelligence community possibly are expected to have a higher than average IQ level. Supposed to be smart. They're supposed to be very much aware. And they're supposed to be conversant with processes and procedures and ensure that everything that they do is spot on, and they are not caught napping, and they're not caught with their tails between their legs, and they're not caught messing up or messing things up, as the case is. Now, that's what I think. That's what I think the intelligence community should be all about. This and more. But sadly, the intelligence community in Nigeria sometimes gives the impression that the things that I think, the things that I just said now, may not exactly be the case, especially in the Nigerian scenario. Once again, when you consider some of the things that our intelligence community have been dabbling into these days, it's kind of like that famous saying by one of Nigeria's national team coaches. I think it was coaching one of our age grade teams at that time, and they went for some tournament, and they talked about wumbling and fumbling. And sometimes, I mean, every agency could wumble and fumble. Even intelligence agencies of even the most advanced countries, sometimes they miss a step. Something slips through the cracks. It happens. But when you make it a habit of continually wumbling and fumbling, it leaves a lot to be desired and raises some extremely fundamental questions indeed as to, for example, how much intelligence really does our intelligence agencies have? How much intelligence do they depict in their actions and, how they carry out and do whatever it is that they do? For example, recently we had one of our foremost intelligence agencies in the country, the State Security Service, also referred to as the Department of State Security, I think, DSS, issuing ultimatums to NNPC and oil marketers to end fuel scarcity, ensure fuel is available at pumps across the country, and to sell at the official rate. A 48 hours ultimatum was given. It's been over 2 weeks now, and it doesn't seem like anybody listened to what the DSS had to say on that matter. Once again, why they were concerned about that leaves me completely befuddled. But that happened. That did happen, as a matter of fact. But like I said, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, be rest assured, maybe they're planning to swoop in. Sometimes intelligence doesn't work out the way we think it's going to work out. So they might still swoop in any second on, I don't know who, but they might swoop in and address that matter. But here's another example of how our intelligence agencies, can do a lot better. And here's a story from Premium Times. Court rejects SSS's request for arrest warrant against CBN Governor Emefiele. We're going to go over the story paragraph by paragraph, and it's stated quite clearly how the DSS simply put, wumbled and fumbled this one as well. A federal high court in Abuja has thrown out a request by the State Security Services (SSS) to order the arrest of the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. A secret police had filed an ex-parte application for an order for the arrest of the CBN governor over alleged acts of financing terrorism, fraudulent activities, and economic crimes of national security dimension. This is a grievous accusation. This is serious. This is not the same thing as insulting the First Lady on Twitter. No, this is serious. Financing acts of terrorism anywhere in the world, everywhere in the world, is a grievous offense, especially in Nigeria. One of the biggest problems we are facing in the country right now is the war on terror. It's a big problem, as a matter of fact. So anyone accused of financing terrorism is a very big deal. So how did the SSS handle this very big deal? Let's get back to the story. Now, the SSS filed the application at the court on 7 December, suing Emefiele as the sole respondent in the ex parte application. But the judge, obviously somebody who is not in the habit, I suppose, of wumbling and fumbling, John Soho, who is the chief judge of the Federal High Court, in a ruling on December 9, rejected the application on the grounds that the secret police failed to provide sufficient evidence to warrant the issuance of an arrest warrant against Emefiele. So you accuse a person of financing terrorism, you want an ex parte motion granted to you so you can make an arrest or effect an arrest or detain the person, and you could not provide to the judge sufficient evidence to show that indeed this person is financing terrorism. The judge said the depositions in the affidavit filed by the SSS in support of its application purport that preliminary investigation has revealed various acts of terrorism financing, fraudulent activities perpetrated by the respondent, and his involvement in economic crimes of national security dimension. But rejecting the application, the judge said these are no doubt grave allegations, but which the applicant has not presented any concrete evidence to support. So the SSS told the judge this person is financing terror, this person is engaged in other crimes that have implications on national security, but fail to provide any iota of evidence supporting their position. Now, he also said the SSS failed to clearly identify the person against whom the arrest warrant was sought. That should be the most basic of things you will think. He said it remains speculation whether the person was the same Golden Emefiele serving as a CBN governor. So you want to effect an arrest against the person with the name Golden Emefiele, who is obviously the CBN governor. I mean, even if the person were the CBN governor or not, shouldn't it be stated clearly, identified clearly, who the Godwin Emefiele is? If it's a CBN governor or some other Godwin Emefiele, maybe from Nasarawa State, or Godwin Emefiele from Ogun State, Ijebu precise, of Ijebu extraction precisely. Shouldn't that have been clearly stated? Now, if the targeted person was the incumbent CBN governor, the judge said there was a need to obtain the approval of his boss, presumably referring to the president, for his arrest, given the crucial role he plays in driving the economy. So the judge had to lecture the SSS, our intelligence agency, that if you're going to level allegations this grievous against the CBN governor, it's not somebody, like I said, who tweeted something against First Lady. This person did not steal bole and fish along the East-West Road. This is the CBN governor, for crying out loud. And you're accusing him of crimes this weighty and nothing from his employer, whom you also answer to, by the way, Mr. President. He said there was no evidence in SSS's application that such approval was obtained. The respondent in this application is named as Godwin Emefiele without disclosure of his status or position anywhere, not even in the affidavit. It is left to speculation if the Godwin Emefiele is the same person as the serving governor of the CBN. If it is, then he is unarguably a high-ranking public official in Nigeria and indeed occupies a sensitive position as one of the key drivers of the nation's economy. Therefore, an application of this kind should have evidence of the approval of the respondent's boss that such measures are authorized to be taken. This is a no-brainer. You don't even need you don't need average IQ to figure this one out. The judge went on to lecture our intelligence agency, saying, with or without a court order, the judge said, SSS has the power to arrest Emefiele based on reasonable suspicion, but that the agency's lack of concrete evidence must have driven it to seek the court's arrest warrant to serve as a cover for an irregular procedure. If you know enough about the law, you will know that a police officer, yes, ideally should get a warrant before effecting an arrest. But where there is something called reasonable suspicion, an officer can effect an arrest without getting a court warrant. If the officer knows and has evidence that you are either or suspect strongly that you are committing an offense, have committed an offense, or are planning to commit an offense, an arrest can take place nonetheless. It therefore seems that the applicant intends to use the court as a cover for an irregular procedure, which is unacceptable. In the light of the foregoing reasons, I decline to grant this application ex parte. But given the secret police another option to pursue its case, the judge added, if, however, the applicant decides to still pursue this application, then it should place the respondent on notice considering the sensitive public office that he occupies. You would think that one of the foremost intelligence agencies in Nigeria, whose business is intelligence, who should have intelligent people working, in its offices, would understand the gravity. Somehow did not. The people that pay the salary is to know. Everybody else knows, but the people who are paid to know it somehow, just somehow, find a way to not know. And this is just an example of wumbling and fumbling. And if the DSS or the SSS, as I think it is their legal name, are having problem with intelligence, I strongly recommend that they get a lot more intelligent people, recruit a lot more intelligent people in the SSS, so we will not have wumbling and fumbling fiasco scenarios as this. And this rant also serves as a reminder to the SSS that its service is to the state. State security service. The service is to the state. And if you're going to serve the state deserves a lot more, a higher degree and level of intelligence in handling state matters than that which was depicted in this particular scenario. And on that note, I end my round. Thanks for listening. Let's get your take on mine. Call 0700 923 0923. That's 0700 923 0923. We're live on facebook.com/Nigeria Info PH. We're live on Twitter as well at Nigeria Info PH. Please keep it brief and straight to the point, and what's it called is and also to turn off your radio set. We reminded once again you can join the conversation via Twitter at Nigeria Info PH, via Facebook as well, facebook.com/Nigeria Info PH. We're live there as well. I think I've got a call coming in. I'll get to that in a moment. All right, Christian from Buhai, go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sometimes I think your rants are not, how would I put it? Because I want to ask, do you think the DSS, as it is, don't have a lawyer that understands this thing you're saying before proceeding to court? And let me also add, that is a high court. Our three cases where cases are brought before a high court judge, and we give judgment, the same prayer will be taken to an appeal court, and the appeal court will now overturn that of the high court. Has it not happened before? So
you're saying that Justice Soho was wrong in this case?
No, what I'm saying is that this same player can go to an appeal court and it can be granted.
So once again, you're saying that Justice Soho is wrong in this case?
Hello?
You're saying that Justice Soho is wrong in this case?
Don't have a lawyer that understands all these things that the judge is saying. We are in Nigeria, we know what is happening.
So basically, you're saying that Justice Soho is wrong in this case?
When he went to appeal court, and the judge in appeal court saw all the loopholes and told them, why would the high court judge give this kind of judgment?
In other words, once again, Justice Soho is wrong in this case, in your estimation.
When until proven so by the high court, but we're seeing cases like that, don't make them look as if there are no lawyers that knows what they are supposed to do.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a direct question as I end this conversation. What do you think about Justice Soho's ruling on the matter? Do you think it's right or wrong?
What I think about it is that given the fact that we have seen so many corrupt judges in Nigeria, it's also possible that the person's judgment might not be right.
All right, your position is clear. Good to hear from you as well. But I think it's a no-brainer. I mean, it's obvious. You know, the judge was very clear in outlining the reasons he declined the ex parte motion, and I don't think we need Femi Falana or SAN to explain this one. I don't think I need to call Barrister Okocha for this either. This one seems pretty straightforward, really, you know. But then again, what do I know? Remember, you can also join me via facebook.com/Nigeria Info PH. Via Twitter, Nigeria Info PH also. Via Facebook, Prince Bliss goes, the law always rejects key offender scrutiny. Yeah, maybe our laws or the implementation of our laws have proven faulty. Maybe we've even wumbled and fumbled sometimes. But the issues that were raised by the judge, they are very, very clear issues here. There's no ambiguity there. How do you file an ex parte motion against a Gordon Emefiele suspected to be the CBN governor, and you would not clearly state that? Was the judge fabricating that? Did the judge make that up? How do you accuse a person of financing terrorism and other such grievous acts, and the judge says you did not provide any clear evidence to him to show that this person truly is financing terror? How do you? I mean, even the basic. You want to arrest the presumably, because once again it's important to note, according to the judge in the application filed by the SSS, they did not state clearly the identity of this person.
The River State Internal Revenue Service sends her warmest season's greeting.
To Nigeria Info here in Port Harcourt, and apologies for the abruptness of that commercial break. Let's get your take. Got another maybe 2.5 minutes or so. Lines open 0700 923 0923. Join via Facebook and Twitter at Nigeria Info PH. Also, got a few more comments here. Why would the DSS seek for an order to carry out an arrest if they're very sure the person in question committed the said offence? That's from Damiete Rekosima. Now this, permit me to say, is an intelligent question. If the SSS is convinced and has incontrovertible evidence that Godwin Emefiele of Kano State, or Godwin Emefiele of Lagos State or Kwara State, or Godwin Emefiele of Bayelsa State, or Godwin Emefiele of Benue State, or Godwin Emefiele, CBN governor, whoever the Godwin Emefiele is, has committed a crime and is financing terror, what do you need an arrest warrant for? You don't even need it. If you can get one, yes. And if the only way you can get an arrest warrant, you have to convince a judge that this person truly has committed the crime that you are alleging. And then the judge will grant that. But even if you can't get an arrest warrant, we're talking about terror here. An arrest can be effected. The judge even said that. You don't even need me to give you an arrest warrant. You can arrest this fellow if you have incontrovertible evidence that the person really has committed the offense that you are alleging. Fortunately, the DSS went for lecture on intelligence thanks to the judge. When the CBN governor goes about redesigning the Naira, which will send a lot of people into poverty, the best thing is to charge him for financing terror. Okay, that's a Monandi. Good afternoon. It's a shame that our DSS themselves actors, as our crackheads do. Why didn't they go to court to stop petroleum marketers from hiking fuel pump price? And that's okay. That's a good one. Rather than issuing 48 hours ultimatum, we should have gone to court to get some kind of a warrant stopping them from doing that, I suppose. But I think Justice Soho's position is very clear. It's not ambiguous at all. We don't need any interpretation of section 92, subsection 1, A to Z. No, we don't need that. It's very clear. The man has explained what the issues are. If you say someone is financing terror, prove to me that he is. I'll give you your arrest warrant. Meanwhile, you don't even need one to arrest this fellow. And who is the Godwin Emefiele, by the way? Anyways, 4 p.m. break for the business news.
On your number one talk station.
Yep, Nigeria Info. And after that, discussions continue. We'll be looking at a number of issues. Small claims court inaugurated in Rivers State. What exactly does that mean? Enrique Johnson for that shortly. Please stay with us.